Alright guys, here we are today. We're going to be breaking down the top 5 tips to improve overnight offensively in NCAA Football 14. Now, this is one of my favorite videos to do. I'm going to start doing them more often. Top 5 tips, top 5 players, whatever. So, anyways, top 5 tips to improve overnight offensively. Number 5, inside zone. You have to have a inside zone in your playbook, whether it be out of every formation like me, or whether it be out of just a few. But let's just take a look at how effective this inside zone is. Here you're going to read, you have numbers, and you're just going to run the inside zone. But then in a situation where, say, they may stack the box here, go to a bear look, we're still going to be able to we're not going to get hit in the backfield is the key. This is never a negative yardage play for me. It's always positive yards, unless my opponent is really heavily stacking like a goal line front. But guys, I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best runs in the game. You need to get on the bandwagon of running inside zones in this year's game, and I have one from every single formation in my offense. You guys on the whoever picked up my ebook, you guys know how effective this is. And then the next tip that I want to use is play action, and not just play action, but play action in the right time. I like to call play action passes on like 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2, when I know that my opponent may be pressing the box, maybe jumping stuff. And the reason for that is because a lot of times, second and short, I check down to my running set, and I normally run a play action. The reason is because if my opponent, and I like the heavy max protection, so something like this play action right here, and then I like fade or streak that receiver on the right, and you see, you got one-on-one, you just launch it deep. It's a shot play. It doesn't happen 100% of the time, but running play action in the right time, it can mean a touchdown. It could also mean a sack. You got to know when to run play action this season. It's very improved. It's still not all the way where I would like it, but with max protection and a good read, you could certainly deliver play action passes this season. The third tip that I'm going to recommend you guys start doing offensively is wide receiver screens. Wide receiver screens are very effective this season, and not always to the wide receiver though. You see here I'm going to check down into a trips formation, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that guy get blocked, and then I'm going to hit my wide receiver. And you see I got blockers downfield, but it's not super effective. It's not over effective like it used to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a hot route to make it a little bit more effective from this formation. And what I like to do in wide receiver screen scenarios is I will run the screen, but I'm going to run a slant to that wide receiver, and I'm going to put my running back on a wheel pattern. And I'm going to hit my running back out of the backfield now, so he's already moving upfield, and I can just get in front of my blockers. It's a little swing screen. Get on the bandwagon of doing that, guys, because, once again, it's a play that's really going to keep your opponent off balance. They're not going to be able to really key in on it. And the only thing you have to know is if your receiver on the right side, if he gets pressed, but then he gets off the bump really quickly, that's going to mean it's a cover 2. And if they're in a cover 2, you're going to be able to hit that slant pattern really easily. And you see you got a blocker there up front. Really effective play, the wide receiver screen this season. Be sure to be using that against heavy blitzing opponents. The second play I want to talk about is taking the sack. Now, sometimes through the course of a game, none of our reads are going to get open. Okay, so I'm going to try and scramble, get out of the pocket. Sometimes I'll get sacked. Other times I'll get 15, 20 yards. But again, against good opponents, say they're running some kind of maximum coverage defense. Okay, and you go through your progression reads. So you go through your progression reads, nothing's open, you don't like what you see. So swerve the spy. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the spy, and then you're going to swerve it, go exactly to the right there. And it's going to allow you to get past the quarterback spies this season. It's a similar tactic from Madden 13. If they have 2 quarterback spies, it's not as effective. The next tip I want to talk about is throwing the ball, having user catch options on every play. And this is a tactic that a lot of people will debate on throughout the season. A lot of people will they'll either ban it from leagues or they'll do something to really shorten it down. But the comebacks route this season are money. All you have to do is pass lead them. You don't even have to pass lead them to the inside. I see, because when you pass lead them, it kind of messes it up. All you have to do is just bullet pass it at 10 yards when he gets 10 yards deep. So here, watch Jones. I'm going to put him on a comeback, and I'm going to throw it when he gets to the 20-yard line. I'm going to click on and make a user catch. And there you see, that's the user catch. And the beauty of this is if there's one-on-one coverage, you know that is going to be a wide open every single time. And the beauty of having a route you can user catch, it doesn't have to be a comeback. I prefer them, but it doesn't have to be. The reason I like to have that is so if I make a bad read or I don't get what I want, or they have everything covered, I always have that in my back pocket so that I can just easily, okay, I make a bad read, throw my comeback route, and then you're still getting a lot of yards. Against zone, here's, sometimes some people are like, oh, it doesn't work against zone. Against zone here's cover 3. I feel like it works better against zone. That time I didn't get the animation because I clicked on too early. Let me see here. Didn't get it again. You got to time it though. Again, that's another tip. This is a little bonus. You need to time your. You need to work on your user catches before you run them in game. That's why this is my first video of the day. So I'm running this in practice mode over and over again, trying to establish a timing, establish a rhythm, so that when I go into online game, it can be effective. I don't know why I'm not getting my animation. I'm trying to swerve. I think that's probably the issue. Let's see. There we go. So, but you see the beauty of the user catch route is if you make a bad read, if you don't get something you like, man, I don't know why I can't get the animation. But if you don't get something you like, you can always throw that route and have confidence in your ability to click on. If you've been labbing it, if you've been running it over and over again, by the end of this lab session, I'll be catching those no problem. Like there you see, finally I get the animation. And the beauty of this route is, again, it can beat almost every coverage in the game because you're user catching it. Okay? I'm really having some trouble with my animations, but anyways, the user catching is the main key. Find routes that you can click on and make a play and have confidence in yourself to do it, because if you do, it's going to really open up your offense. It's going to allow you to continue to move the ball even if the defense calls a good play. And so the number one tip, I was debating on this, I kind of went back and forth about what I wanted the number one tip to be offensively. And in my opinion, pound for pound, reads, and more reads. Pre-snap reads, post-snap reads, progression reads, all of the 9. In my offense, I like to read the slot defender. So you see, he is over the slot defender. That gives me a 6-man box. So I'm going to check down into a running formation and pound das rock. But if, for example, he was in a disciplined defense and he was stacking the box against the run, something like this, then I would run my pass play, and I would go through my progression reads. And you want to have multiple reads on a play. You don't want to have just one route. So again, progression reads, pre-snap reads, and then finally post-snap reads. What do you think they're going to do? Try to guess. Try to guess what you think is going to be open. Here I feel like, okay, they're in zone. Okay, so they're in zone. That's what I'm guessing because of the base of line. I see that's not the case, so I hit my running back in the flat on my progression read. And that's the key, guys. You got to have reads. You got to master your reads. You got to run your reads against every stock coverage, and you got to run your reads against some adjustments. Make your reads. You will win the game. Problem did it last season in the Madden 13 Virgin Gaming Challenge. You guys can be that guy this season. Make sure you're working on your reads, guys. That does it for the top 5 offensive tips, and we'll see you guys in the next video.